Hi, everyone. Deirdre Morrison here, and I'm here with my lovely colleague, Gabriella Benkő. And we are having a little chat today as part of the series that we're doing that is designed to give you some idea about the work that we're doing and how we are helping out and trying to do our bit for the humanitarian relief efforts. So, Gabriella, last week when I was talking to Justin, our other colleague, Justin Caffrey, we were talking about how taking action is actually one of the best ways to get rid of those kind of overwhelming emotions that we can have in the face of all the stuff that's going on in the world. And as we were talking there just before hitting record, something else came up, and that was this idea of gratitude. And gratitude is just such a powerful emotion, you know, from a neuroscience perspective. What do you think we can, it's very complex as well though, isn't it? You can actually feel guilty for feeling grateful for stuff in the face of all this going on. So what's your take on gratitude as a tool?
There is also a TED talk on this, and Matthew Ricard's name came up for me. He talked about gratitude, and it really resonates with me because, and also I think the Dalai Lama refers to that, but I'm not sure about that. But this is when you are grateful, when you are thankful for what you have, that brings you happiness.
Mm.
And this is the feeling of enough, and also not just enough, but it's also feeling this happiness over what you own, what you have in your life, the little things, because the little things are the ones that you miss the most when you lose them.
Yeah. And we were talking as well about, you know, simple things that the things that we take for granted, like clean running water, and what we actually do with that these days. So if we then take that, you know, that sense of gratitude and use that to empathize, use that to imagine what life would be like without that simple thing in our lives, it opens up a whole way of looking at what other people are going through.
Yes, it's what brings up for me is that we take so many things granted. I think that's the word. And when you experience yourself the lack of something that is so obvious for most of us, when you go through that experience, and I'm going to give you an exact example for that, then it's much easier to be grateful. So for me, I grew up with running water, for example. Mm-hmm. And then I had the opportunity to go to Africa. I worked there. I met people there. I saw people struggle for water. And also I went to India, and I saw there the struggle, even though there is more water, for example, in the Himalaya, but sometimes there is struggle to get up the water where they want the water. And then I came back home to Europe. I say Europe because I'm Hungarian and I live in France. And here, you know, when you realize you just go to the tap to wash your hands, so there is hygiene for you. You have a shower whenever you want, warm and cold, so it's not just cold. Or for example, and this was a disaster when I noticed that we flush the toilet with drinking water, and it really broke my heart. So I think when you have a personal experience, you have a different perspective, and maybe that helps with gratitude a lot after that, because then you have different eyes, different perspectives, because you say, okay, so this is the water experience. What else is there? What else is there?
Yeah.
That is so basic.
Yeah, and it really opens up our empathy, doesn't it? And empathy is the thing that is so important in this. That we are, we are seeing such terrible things happening, and terrible things go on all the time. We realize that, but right now we're very focused on this situation that we've got in Europe, and seeing people who are living normal lives like us, and then that is changed overnight. So to be able to look at that situation and to imagine to put ourselves in their shoes, um, and that is something that we really do need to be able to do. I think so many people are just opening their hearts right now, and that is wonderful. Um, and that, I guess, we need to be able to extend that to what else is it that we can do. What are the actions that we can take, and how can we, I suppose, prepare ourselves to do that?
Yeah. Yes, I think what is happening now, all the sadness, all the violence, not far from us. And me being Hungarian, I also have this, let's say, transgenerational trauma. So on the 24th of February, the morning when I saw that the invasion started, it really hit me. And I was sad, deeply sad. And when you talk about actions, I couldn't act. I was deeply sad. And actually, it took me several days when I could get into action. But first, I went through this motionless sadness.
Yeah.
And I just let it flow, because you know the consequences. You understand what this means. If I think about my family, you know the stories. You know the stories of the Second World War, and it really hits you. And after that, I said, okay, so there is the feeling. So let's deal with the feelings. This was a big trigger. Now let's get into action. As you said, what can I do? What can I do as a human being in order to offer help to make this world a little bit a better place? Because that's why we are here, for connection and living a better place, if possible. And that's when I did little things. I donated. I spoke with my parents. They donated as well. And also I participate in this initiative that people can work with us, and we offer donation to those who are in need out of this. So and whenever there is an opportunity, I will jump on it. Whatever is offered, life offers me, and I look around. I try to find opportunities how I can help.
So I think, the things that keep coming up again and again as we talk about this, as we have these discussions, are gratitude, empathy, and action. And these seem to be the core of not just being able to create change, not just being able to do good and feel like we are contributing to a positive outcome of some form, but also, that we are actually, that we are helping ourselves to get through this as well, because these things, noticing the things that we can be grateful for, that actually will interrupt the patterns of negative thoughts as well. When we're focused on being grateful for something, it's very difficult to also be focused on something else. So if we truly put that gratitude front of our mind, then we can actually be more resilient. We can bounce back from the things that are trying to get us into that downward spiral.
For sure. And I think gratitude also kind of takes us away from this threat state. It helps us to go away from this default system that, we start to go with the dopamine a little bit, with these positive hormones, let's call them, and neurotransmitters, as well as when you talk about empathy. It's also help us to be more empathetic. It's a very nice cycle with empathy, self-empathy, and empathy towards others, as well as the gratitude.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, there are things that you and I use every day with clients and so on that help people to understand how to get into those states, like those kind of state shifting exercises, which are incredibly useful in any area of life, I find, whether it's, your everyday work, whether it's being cut off in traffic, whether it is watching the news and seeing, the bad things that are happening in the world, having this resilience and having this ability to, I guess, raise ourselves beyond that, those downward feelings is one of the best things that we can do for ourselves and those around us.
Yeah, and also I think it's very important if we add that to regulate our emotions, to acknowledge those. So the first is acknowledging and accepting those emotions, but after that, being able to regulate those emotions.
Yes.
And there are techniques and tips for that, but I do believe that emotions need space, but they shouldn't take over your life.
Yeah, it's never about suppression. I mean, trying to suppress an emotion is effectively not listening to yourself. And when you do that, when you try and close those down, they're not really going anywhere and you're just missing whatever it was that they were trying to tell you. So yeah, absolutely. I think that that is definitely the work, isn't it? Being able to recognize those, being able to accept them, and also being able to not get caught up in the unproductive emotions.
Exactly.
So, Gabriella, yeah, it's been great to chat as always. And what I would invite everyone to do at this point, if you haven't already had a chance to do so, hop over to our website, neurodevelopmentinstitute.com/change, and you'll be able to read a little bit more about what we're doing, what our humanitarian relief effort is looking like, and how you can get involved. So hopefully we will see you in that. And if we will see you next week, I guess, anyway, with another chat with one of our colleagues. And I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.